Welcome to the Sunset Safari. It's the Killer Bees, Brent and Brian, out on the search for fantastic animals. And we've had an interesting day of hoping that the wild dogs might come back to the west. So we're going to do a big loop towards the western boundary, see if we can find any sign of the wild dogs. Sam and Dangerous Dave are out on the other vehicle, and Kirsten and Rebecca in final control. And a bit later, James will be perusing the African bush on tracking team. Now, speaking about bush, it's from Africa. This morning we did the impossible tree quiz, and I thought it would carry on until the Sunset Safari, and I was right. I did give you a few little clues, and the one clue I think was it pretends to be a thorn, but it is not a thorn, of course. I still have our samples, looking a little bit tired, but there it is. No thorns. Not soft like toilet paper tree, which is over here. Now, you'll see the leaves are a little bit bigger on the percentage easier one to get. And there we go. You can see the leaves are quite a bit smaller. So, to take a comparison of the two, you can see now that's a leaf and that's a leaf. So there's a big difference in size. And even the little leaflets, big difference in size. And this is wonderfully, gloriously soft. So soft. You want to feel, Brian? Oh. Yes, so sometimes referred to as the toilet paper tree or the weeping wattle. This was got by Terry. Well done, Terry. The only person to get the impossible tree quiz correct. It is a low-felt false thorn, Albizia harvii. So there we go. They're not too common here in the Sabi Sands. They tend to grow right on the edge of seep lines, and the elephants never let them get really big. But they can become a big, beautiful tree, similar to these peltiforums around us, or weeping wattles. Now, I've just noticed, it's been very interesting, because of the strange rainy season we've had this wet season, and the lack of rain, we had a couple of different bursts of flowers. A very late one from this peltiforum. Have a look there, you can see there's some brilliant bright yellow flowers. And it's got two sets of pods, so there we go, you see the little green pod to the left of the flowers. There we go. Oh, the little fruit chafer beetle there, crawling on the flower, it looks like. Very pretty little one, metallic in colour. Now they love these peltiforum flowers, and on the first flush we had hundreds of fruit chafers around them. But if we come out a bit and we have a look a little bit higher in the tree, you'll see the seeds from the last flush. So very interesting. So it's actually having two seeding sessions this year, but the second session being much smaller than the first. There's a tinkling sound. In the tree off to the left of us there. So it seems like, oh, there we go. There we go, there's a, you hear that constant tick, 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 tick. To the right hand side of the dead tree there, it's a crested barbet. A very distinct call in the African bushveld, like monotonous ding, 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 ding. We do apologise, seems to be having a little bit of problem with our sound. Brian is working on it right as we speak, while we look and listen. Or maybe not listen at the moment to the tinkering of the crested barbet. And let's leave the barbet to his calling and see what else we can come across. And again, another big well done to Terry on that, getting the impossible tree quiz, the low felt false thorn, or bush felt false thorn. Albizia harvii. Now, albizzias are some of my favorite trees. Now, we don't get too many of the really big, beautiful, flat-crowned albizzias here, but they are absolutely spectacular, and they just look like trees that leopards should lounge in. And I have seen in other parts of Africa a few leopards lounging in albizzias. Now, speaking about trees and insects, a lot of trees and a lot of insects have a very, very particular relationship. And Glenda Kim has heard that ants can nest inside thorns. That they can. Certain species of ants and certain acacias. And they do it. And there's another. It has a perfect example of not an ant this time, but this is from a wasp. And there is an ant species and a wasp species that nest exclusively in this plant here. It's called a terminalia, or a silver cluster leaf. And there we go. So this is a very similar principle, Glenda, to what those ants do to those acacia thorns. So what happens, in this case it's actually a wasp though, it's called a terminalia gall wasp. And you can see these beautiful little holes here of where the eggs, and these are obviously a hatched one. So what happens is the wasp actually stings the plant, which causes the plant to produce a growth hormone called globulin, and it produces these big globules. So a lot of the plant's nutrients are pumped into this area, and it makes this beautiful hard casing for the wasps to lay their eggs in. Now, ants do the exact same thing, and certain ant species do it to terminalias. It doesn't look like there are any gall ant nests on that particular terminalia we're looking at, but they also do it to those large acacia thorns. So they'll sting them or bite them, causing them growth hormone to increase the size and make a cavity for the insects to lay their young in. So a nice safe place for them, protected from birds and other creatures that might eat them. Oh, look what we have there. Let's get it. Oh, no, don't fly towards us. No, stop following me. Butterfly, away. There we go. Hopefully they land now. There we go. Now this is, you got them, right?
Yeah, I lost them.
Show forward a tiny bit. Okay, let's have a look. So basically between our two head shadows. You got them yet? There we go. Is that them there? No, they've flown. I think slightly to the left. There we go. Is it? I think I'm being blind. Okay. Where's that stick? Let's have a look. There's the stick. Okay, so they should be there. They're keeping quite still on a blade of grass. Wait, let me go. Are they still there? Yes, they are. You see the wings opening and closing?
Yeah, I did. A center frame.
Now look at that. Oh, there we go. Now, they're mating little acria butterflies. So look at that. Tiny little butterfly, very pretty butterfly. The acrias are my favorite family. Now, it's quite an interesting thing that they're mating in this particular area, because 80% of acrias lay their eggs on a single plant species. And we've been talking about the relationships between plants and insects. So if we come out a little bit, Brian, and we'll see there's this plant coming into frame. There with my shadow. There. And that is the Waltharia indica. You can see the little yellow flowers on it. Now that is the host species for those little butterflies. So they lay their eggs on that plant, and they're able to the caterpillars are able to sequester a poison called hydrogen cyanide from that plant while they feed off it, and it makes them noxious as an adult, and that gives them defense against birds and other things that might want to eat them because they don't taste very nice. We'll give those butterflies some privacy. They did try to chase us once. We are going to have to change batteries quickly. So we'll keep talking till we disappear, but we are on the A7S, which is quite exciting for later. It's the low light camera. But while we see what else we can find out here and check for those wild dogs, let's go see Sam.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are out here in the Sabi Sands. As you can see, myself and Dave are quite stuck in the block here. Exciting stuff. We're basically trying to find where Tingana was. I'm just going to switch off for a second, introduce myself. I am Sam Chevalier. I am from Cape Town. I've just started here with Wild Earth TV. It's been an incredible adventure over the last couple of days, weeks actually now. It's been 2 weeks since I arrived. And I've been with Dave for 4 drives. That's Dave. And it's been dangerous with Dave so far. We've had wild dog hunts. We've had lions going into the block. We've had issues with cameras. We've experienced it all so far. It almost feels like we've been working for a long time now, Dave. Yes. So it's very exciting to be back on drive with you all. At the moment, we're in the block, as I said, and we are trying to find Tingana, because apparently Tingana was on a kill earlier today. So we're just trying to relocate on that animal, and we're doing our very best. And James is trying to get hold of me on the game drive here, on the game drive comp, so I'm just going to have to quickly chat to him and see what he says. James Hendry, did you copy James? James, the location at the moment is just by a knobthorn tree, probably about 40 meters from the dam itself. We're just looking for tracks, but we can't really find any at all. Dave's struggling to remember where it was. So if there's any iconic things that you remember, and send us, it'll be great. Copy that, James. We're going to head back down the drainage towards the dam. Right, everyone. I'm going to go meet James at the dam because he knows exactly where we need to go. So, best thing that we can do right now is stop trying to follow tracks, because tracks can go anywhere. Get to James, and then we can go and see if we can see Tingana, which will be the second time that I've seen Tingana in the flesh. So I'm very excited to meet our local resident Tingana. It's another hot day in the Sabi Sands. We haven't had much rain, and I know everyone was asking for us to do a rain dance for me and Dave, but you know what? We were just with the wild dogs last night, and it got pretty wild. So it was pretty difficult to just jump out the car and start dancing for the rain to come. But maybe we'll have a chance to do that sometime soon, hey Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. But with that, let's just go see what Brent's up to while we try locate on Tingana.
So we've got some dancing rollers in the sky. Here he comes, right towards us. Oh, look at that roll! Here we go. Look at that. I think they actually have a nest there. And they do display around their nests quite often. How cool was that? So there's how the rollers get their name. All the species do that. Oh, is he gone? Oh, he's a little bit to the left. A little bit lower. There we go, and a little bit to the left. It's feeding in the hole there. There's a nest. It looks like in the cavity of that tree. more than likely displaying, because there could have been another roller near their nest, so displaying, saying, this is my area, away with you. I was almost, oof, still upset. But that was so cool, we got him rolling right towards us. We often see it at quite a distance, so it was quite nice to be a little bit close when it happened. Here he comes again. There's the roll. Back to the nest. And you can see those incredible colors sticking out. He nearly got Brian. Brian thought he was off again. There we go. Nice camera work, Brian. This guy definitely putting on a really nice display for us. Come on, one more roll before good measure, before we move on. Or not. Come on, roller. Show us what you're made of. Well, not so much of that sort of harsh noises anymore. So maybe it feels like it's, oh, no, here we go. Might have vanquished whatever it was rolling at. I have seen rollers get very aggressive with other rollers, and even a fork-tailed drongo once. But see, none of that loud, raucous calling anymore. It seems to have been happy with its efforts. Now, can we zoom in a little bit there, Brian? Sorry, I just saw it opening its mouth. I want to see if it's doing... See how it opens their mouth like... That's very interesting. So, with birds, when they get hot, they open their mouth like that and they breathe quite heavily. Unfortunately, it's a little bit off the road. Otherwise, you'd see underneath moving at quite a rapid rate. And that is called a gula flutter. And it's one of birds' ways of cooling down. Yeah, well, thanks for that, roller. You've definitely earned your keep this evening with that wonderful little display. So we're on the western edge of the Djuma, checking for tracks. So we see a few different species of roller here, and we have the lilac-breasted roller, which we've just seen, the purple roller, which we saw on the sunrise safari, and then the European roller. And Ashley's wondering, do rollers migrate? The purple and the lilac-breasted are resident here. They stay here all year round, but the European does migrate, and they migrate to the south of France and to Spain. And I've actually seen them in both those places during the European summer. And Portugal, I think, is another place you can see them. So we've crossed into Arathusa, and we're going to go check the northern boundary of Arathusa, see what's happening. There's always that little chance we can catch up with the beast that is called the Anderson male. I've only ever seen him once, and I would very much like to see him again. And Brian was actually with me for that, so I know Brian would love to see the Anderson male again. And Wiem is the most jealous because I don't think he's seen the Anderson male. And Wiem is a lover of big cats, specifically lion and leopard. So we've just watched that roller do that incredible rolling display, and Monique, who's in London, is wondering, is it telling everyone to look how pretty I am, or how gorgeous I am, or is it telling rivals to go away? It's more for displaying against other pairs of rollers to try and ensure that they don't come into that area, specifically when they're nesting. So it's more of a territorial display than a look how pretty I am display. So they've got a nest there. He's already won the I'm pretty competition because he's got a nest and he's got some babies. So he's going for the go away display. So, on the subject of birds, Tim's wondering, are there weaver birds as far south as Kruger? There are. There's actually quite a few different species. There are weaver birds as far south as Cape Town. So a lot of weaver species occur throughout southern Africa, sometimes missing the sort of very arid central area, but there's your Valentine weaver, your lesser-mast weaver, village weaver, and names have changed a bit, but the weaver we see the most here is normally your Valentine. We do also have red-headed weavers here. They are more solitary weaver species. They're not as social as the others. But we do get weavers here. We haven't seen many of them this year. They really like to nest in acacia trees and that, quite often above water. There hasn't been too much water above them for them to nest in. Or below them, sorry. So while we continue to check the northern edge of our Arathusa traverse, let's jump across to Sam, who is with Tingana.
That's okay.
Good afternoon, Tingana. Look how beautiful you are. Second time I'm meeting you, sitting underneath a jackalberry tree in the shade. Just above her is her kill. Have a look just above her. As you go up the tree, you'll see her kill, his kill, is right over there. Look at that. Let's have a look and see how much of it has actually been killed. Jeeps, it's very difficult to see with the light behind, but wow. Most of it, quite a lot of it, a good 60 to 70% of that carcass has been eaten from the inside. So quite a lot has already been taken from the impala. Wow, this is cool. Something that I've noticed that I've been saying a lot is the word wow. So let's see if I can not say that. Oh, so it's actually a young female kudu, which I couldn't see with the sun behind it. It's an impala, but wow, Tingana. Said it again. Let's not say wow. Oh, beautiful. So he's a big male. He's the one that dominates this area. Second time in meeting you. You can see there's some blood on the side of his mouth there. And he is breathing very heavily. He looks like he has just been eating all day. Magnificent. Look at that golden color on its back. It's beautiful genes that he has. Tingana. Look at that belly. Have a look at that belly. It is full. He has eaten his heart out. He is very, very happy. But looks very hot at the same time as he breathes there. So I wonder how this all took place. Apparently this morning, David, if you can correct me, what was going on here was he had the kill up in the tree, and there was a number of hyenas that were coming around him.
Yeah, 2 hyenas.
There were 2 hyenas that were surrounding Tingana around this tree as he had his kill up there. Wow, that must have been such a intense experience or sighting to have seen. I'm yet to see that. Hyenas running around a leopard when it's got its kill up the tree. But we just saw a hyena probably about 10 minutes ago. Is that right, Dave? It was about 10 minutes ago, just running around the block here. So it could very well come back a bit later to see if it can scavenge on some of the feed, the rest of that carcass that might fall down the tree a bit later, and see what they can get. Hyenas are opportunist animals, and if they get an opportunity to scavenge some food, they will do it. I can't get over how full you are, Tingana. Hey? You are not moving anywhere. Tingana's probably going to sit here for a while as it tries to get his breath back after eating so much. Cheapers. And look at those rosettes on his body. Beautiful. Almost looks like a whole bunch of flowers. If you look on his stomach, you can see this on his stomach. It looks like those rosettes look like a beautiful flower. You know, flowery, beautiful animal, Tingana. I've had the great pleasure of meeting Karula. I met Karula and his 2 cubs, which was fantastic. If I'm not mistaken, Tingana is the father of those 2 cubs. What's actually really interesting at the moment, Karula's not coming up into the property as much as we would like to see her, purely because there's also other males that are coming. There's one male that's on Buffelshoek that often comes through to Buffelshoek, and I've seen his big tracks in the ground there. And that's very scary for Karula, because that leopard would kill those cubs. So I think she's giving herself the distance to look after those cubs so that they can survive. And he's a strong-looking male, Tingana. Look at him. Cat in Tampa is asking whether I have ever experienced a cat while walking in the bush. Well, Cat, I have experienced just once with a lion and once with a leopard. Once I had to do long walks. I had to walk for 7 days in the bush on my own, and it was the most incredible time in my life, where I had to learn how to be in that wilderness and to understand what it's like to be with hippos and monkeys and baboons and leopards and everything, because each animal plays its own role in the ecosystem, and you have to be aware of its kind of characteristics and behaviors so that you can walk through the bush. You know, you're gonna, when you go towards a watering hole, you're gonna be very, very aware of the hippo that might be just in the bushes behind it, because a hippo and water it's dangerous. The hippo will try and get to the water. That's where it feels safe. So with a hippo, you've got to be safe. You know, with leopards, you are normally walking through the bushveld and you're tracking it, and it's very, very thick, and then suddenly you see the leopard. The leopard will sometimes growl or mock charge, and then it'll run away. So very scared when they see the humans. Most of the time, they run away. But the encounter that I once had, Kat, was a really, really incredible experience when I was walking the deep south of the reserve I trained at, and I was just following tracks, and I found these big male lion tracks, and wow, and I just thought, jeepers, this could be the first time that I encountered lions on foot. And there were 2 sets. There was a set on one side of the road and there was a set on the other. So I realized at that point that there was 2 big males that were walking the property, and I wasn't aware of these males because I knew that the ones that were on our property, which were the Mjingilans, were sitting by the Sand River, and I was in the deep south, far away from the Sand River, which is one of the main rivers that goes through the Sabi Sands. That's why it's called the Sabi Sands, is because of the 2 rivers that meet, the Sabi River and the Sand River. And I was far away from the Sand River, and I found those tracks, and I looked and I felt where the wind was going, because I didn't want to walk into the wind. If you walk into the wind, then they can't smell you, and they'll get a fright, and it's not good. So rather follow the wind, so the wind's going with you, and they can smell you first from a distance, and then you can have that distance. Distance is very important when it comes to being on foot with animals. And I came across 2 male lions as I walked around the corner, and it was a very, very well, it was so quick, it went over very quickly. But I got a big fright when I saw those male lions. They had a growl, and then they ran into the deep south and never saw them again. So that's those are my cat's experiences. In Tingana, I'm still so excited to meet you on foot. Wow, Tingana is not facing us anymore. Very close to the kill. So, Kirsty, please go with that question again. I just got it. It was from Monique. Was that Monique? Monique, indeed. The hyenas are very well. They're very well indeed somewhere around here. So they're actually walking around. We just saw them, didn't we, David? Probably about 15 meters from here. We saw them just walking through the bushveld here. And they could, I actually hope they do come back, because we'll have an interesting interaction between the male leopard and the hyenas. So I'm pretty sure they'll come back if we're patient. But this morning I heard it was such fun, huh? Well, interesting interaction with those hyenas and the leopard. I'm very excited to see something like that. Hopefully we'll get to see that again together. But I've had a very special few days. And this is now a leopard I've seen. In the past 3 days, we've been with wild dogs, lions, and all sorts of predators. So it's interesting to now be with one of the most secretive leopards here in the bush. But it's fascinating just to sit down and listen to the types of birds that are going to be playing their beautiful songs around here. And when those birds sometimes meet the leopard, it will change its whole tone. The song will become an alarm, and it'll tell the rest of the bush that something's around here. So often when you go walking in the bush, have a look and see if you can see some birds calling. Wow. So let's have a little look at the kudu that is in the tree here. As we said, there's still quite a bit left of this kudu, this young kudu that's stuck in the tree. So the hyenas will most definitely come back to see what they can scavenge off this carcass. And what's interesting here is that it's a kudu. And what do we know about kudus? Kudus are very secretive animals, and they will be walking through the thick drainage lines and past the thick trees to see if they can get away from any predators that are there. So this kudu didn't manage to get away from the grips of Tingana, but have a look at that tree and the silhouette with the carcass in the tree. It's just unreal. And there's the king Tingana, who knows this bush so well that will be secretly going through it and finding the nyala and the kudu that will be hiding behind the bushes, where they think they can't be seen, but Tingana knows best. Aaron from New Zealand's asking if I've ever seen a brown hyena. No, Aaron, I've never seen a brown hyena. I'm really looking forward to that day that I get the opportunity to sit with a brown hyena, because I think they're such interesting looking animals. And their social structure is just a little bit different from the spotted hyena. And it would be fascinating to see them. I'll show you a picture of the brown hyena quickly, just so that others can see what it looks like and how different it looks to the spotted hyena that we get here. Almost looks like it's wearing a big coat. Hyena. When you go tracking for hyena in the bush, you know that they have very, very different tracks to that of a leopard and a lion. They almost look like they've got a kidney bean in it. So hopefully when we're driving a bit later, we'll get to see a track of a hyena, and we'll get to put it up against that of a leopard, and we can see the differences, because it's remarkable. When you go tracking in the bush, you can make a big difference between them. Oh, here we go. I've just found the brown hyena. There it is. So it almost looks like it's wearing a coat. Have a look at how different it is from the spotted. Just so that you know what the spotted looks like. Ooh, that's the aardwolf. Spotted must be over here. That is the spotted hyena. So that's the one that has been running around with Tingana this morning, and there's been one running around this afternoon. So hopefully one day we'll get to see the brown hyena, which will be fascinating. But Tingana, let's talk a little bit more about Tingana. Let's get to know you a bit better. What is the territory that Tingana holds? He's the big male resident of this area. He's challenging all the other males. So how they work, the male leopards, is they hold a big territory, and they have a number of females that will sit in that territory. So as we spoke a little bit earlier, I said that there was a leopard called Karula. So most of you know Karula. And Karula sits in his territory. And that's why the cubs are okay in his territory. That's why he'll be able to look after them. So Karula will do her best to stay in this territory and not yonder off somewhere else with her young cubs. And so it's really interesting to understand that dynamic of how the male leopard has a number of females in its territory and looks after it, and he'll go around all night scent marking the whole bushveld, saying to other males, "This is my territory. Don't come into my territory. This is mine." So it's very interesting when you start learning and understanding the way in which the natural world works. But with that, let's just go and see what Brent's up to. We'll sit here with Tingana and see if some of those hyenas come back.
So unfortunately, those wild dogs have headed to the west. So I have heard that Shadow was out and about away from the den where her cubs are this morning. So we're going to go have a look, see if we get some luck there, and see if we can find her around the Knobthorn open area. Brian and I have had some good luck in that area before. It was the spot where we first saw and filmed a serval. And I sadly heard that about a week ago they found a dead serval at that very spot. So I hope it wasn't the one we saw. They said it looked like it had been killed by a leopard. And I know that Shadow has killed a serval before. Did you see that, Brian? Brian saw Shadow carrying a dead serval. So Kathy is wondering, have there been any sightings of Kunyuma? Now, I did hear a very good friend of mine saw him very close to the Londolozi boundary about a week and a half ago. So that way, quite far. Turning into a very nice looking young man, Mr. Kunyuma. I did get sent some pictures of him looking very good. So we're coming up towards the Knobthorn open area now, so we're going to start checking more carefully for tracks. Sorry, just listening to the Game Live radio for a second. Doing an update. So those wild dog tracks might have come back. I'm just trying to hear if they have. we'll listen up for that update. Hopefully they do come back. In the meantime, we're going to continue through to the last position of Shadow. Quite exciting. It's only about 2 weeks so the cubs are going to be old enough to view. So very exciting to be able to go see those cubs in not too long a time. No tracks at this junction. So just turn that down, very loud game drive radio. So start looking carefully on termite mounds and check the road. Hopefully she hasn't moved too far. So Cat and Tampa is wondering, why would leopard kill a serval? It wouldn't be a threat to them, surely. Would they eat them? If they were very hungry, yes, they most certainly would eat them, but it is another predator, and most predators will, if they are bigger, will take any opportunity to kill any potential. It's not so much as a threat as competition. Although a serval does generally eat much smaller things, they will share some prey species with leopard, like guinea fowl and francolin. But it is very sort of stock standard predator behavior to get rid of any form of competition if they're able to. She was seen somewhere around this open area. Let's check carefully on the edge of it in the shade, around the water holes. Nothing here yet. Let's check for tracks. So while we look for a female leopard, let's go back to the male leopard we already have in our pocket.
How exciting is this, guys? We are sitting with Tingana's getting up. Or it got up for a second, just to give us a better position. Hello, Tingana. So, if everyone's just joining us now, we've been sitting here with Tingana for the last 20 to 30 minutes. It's been very relaxed. He's been sitting here in the afternoon shade. It's a very, very hot day today. There's crested francolins that are moving around him, which I thought they would be going crazy. Beautiful birds that have a white stripe. Have a look at the white stripe on little Franklin over here. There he is. Oh man, how's it going? I thought that this crested Franklin would be going crazy because there's a leopard right here, but it's not. To my surprise, maybe it has absolutely no idea what's going on. Do you know what's going on? Do you? There's a leopard right there. But then again, Tingana isn't too worried about having a little snack like a crested Franklin when it's got a massive kudu, young kudu in that tree. So we can't really see it because the sun's right there. As the sun comes down, back past the tree, we'll be able to see it, have a better visual of the young kudu. Gracie, age 8, is saying, do I know that Tingana is a daddy and he's a really good daddy? You know, Gracie, thanks for that. I think that he's a good daddy. I mean, I've just met Tingana, so I don't really know how much of a good daddy he is. Gracie's aged 8. I think that's so cool that you're watching, Gracie. It's so cool. I know that you're a regular viewer out here, and I'm so glad to be able to talk to the youngsters, the older people, and people from around the world. It's a magical thing. So thank you. And if you have any cool pictures and stuff of Tingana, please hashtag Safari Live. I'd love to see them and get to know this beautiful leopard through you guys. Monique in London's asking, would vultures ever come in towards this kill site and start eating the kill with Tingana involved? Well, yes, they would. If Tingana was around and he saw the vultures, he would definitely do his best to chase them away. But if the vultures smelt the carcass in the sky, they would come down and start feeding as much as they can before they were chased off by Tingana. Tingana will definitely defend his kill where he can, and maybe that'll happen. Maybe that will happen, Monique. That would be an amazing behavior that I had never witnessed before, only ever read about in books. And that's the beauty of being out in the natural world. You get to experience things for the first time, to see how it happens live. If there are any first-time viewers out there, this is a live safari. It's all happening right now. We have Tingana underneath this tree. We've got a kill in the tree. We've got hyenas that are walking around the site. It could all go down in a matter of seconds. Wow, I really do hope the hyenas come, just to give us a little bit of entertainment around what would happen if they did come. Sandy in Canada is asking, if a leopard was to eat a guinea fowl, would it eat all the feathers? Indeed it would. You know, it obviously doesn't make for the best tasting, but if you notice within any type of animal scat, you'll see what's in the scat and you'll find feathers and fur. Mostly you'll find fur. The thing is that they'll do their best not to eat feathers because it makes it quite an uncomfortable eat, if you can imagine. So they'll try and open up the body as best as possible to get all the nutrients that they need from the body and leave what is left behind. But a guinea fowl wouldn't be a big meal for a leopard. Although, a friend of mine was tracking the other day, he was just actually in his car, and all of a sudden, a guinea fowl came running across the road, and a leopard then jumped after it and nearly caught it. Imagine how cool that is. You're just going on a game drive in the evening, a guinea fowl jumps in front of your car, and a leopard jumps after it right in front of you. That would be quite a cool sight to see. That's a very good question. Oof, let's have a little lie down. As you can see, Tingana is so full. He can't move. I don't think we'll see him move for a while. This is his resting zone. Let's have a look at those spots. Can we get closer? See how the ones at the bottom are much darker. And as they get up, you start to see that golden sheen of Tingana. Wow. Our beard is asking if there were vultures in the sky circling, and if you can imagine, vultures will fly from many, many distances and they can smell a kill from far, far, far away. And much like that, the hyena can. So the hyena and the vultures are both territory consumers. And so the vulture will fly over the kill, and the hyena will see that from a distance, and it will also make its way to that kill. So the vultures can help any tracker out there that's looking for something to eat to find it. So not only that, they'll help lions find a kill. And vultures are big significant things in the bush. You know, they're the sanitizers. They help clean up the bush and all the old carcasses that need to be eaten. And there's a number of different types of vultures. Some vultures have different beaks that will eat different parts of the kill. So you'll have, I think it is the lappet-faced vulture. It is a big vulture that has very, very, very big and thick bill and will eat certain parts of the kill that most vultures can't. So it's quite an interesting dynamic when you watch the different vultures come into a kill and there's a hierarchy, of course. So the lappet face would then eat what it can, and then it'll leave, and then the other ones, such as the white-backed vulture, will come in and eat what it can. So it's remarkable when you start to see how things work in the bush and how a kill can relate to a vulture and a vulture can relate to a hyena. So everything is interconnected out here. He flicks his ears as the flies pester him. Yeah, Susie, he is covered in flies. He's just flicking his ear. Look at him flick his ear. And he's like, he can't move his body, but all he does is flick his ear because that's the only energy that he has. But that must be quite annoying, to have flies coming all over you. I can tell you at camp, we've had a number of flies coming into our camp and they just fly all over us and all you want to do is slap your body everywhere. I'll tell you what, it teaches you a lesson in toleration. Do you know, so is there a word such as toleration? No, I don't think so. It teaches you to become tolerant. Tolerance. Thank you, Dave, for correcting me in my English language. Not only are we a team to go look for predators, but we are a team at helping each other out with the English language. With that, let's go and see what Brent is up to. We'll sit with Tingana for a bit longer, but other people are starting to come into the side. Oof, that was a big waft. Did you smell that, Dave? Oh, yes. Jeepers, that smell is quite pungent. Let's go see what Brent's up to. Cheers for now.
So we've seen a few tracks of Shadow. Her general direction seems to be to the east, so maybe even onto Djuma. So we're going to go move around now and just check up on the main access road that runs between Djuma and Arathusa. Still checking all the deep shade and termite mounds. No, the last track we had was probably a couple of 100 meters back. But if we get no luck here, we might go look for some elephants. Standing by. Copy, thanks very much, James. We'll do that. Oh, excitement! We're going on a road trip to see something that everybody would love to see. Aren't you excited, Brian?
I'm very excited.
Oh, we know what it is. So we're going to race towards the plains of the cheetah and see what is down there. I'm just going to talk to the Arathusa guys quickly. Stations, the last tracks of Shadow seem to be maybe heading back towards the Kaya. I'm going to leave the area. I'm going to head down to the east. Okay, so very exciting. I'm very excited. Brian's very excited. I'm sure Final Control's also very excited. So we're going to start taking the long road to the east towards Cheetah Plains to go see what's there. And I know for a fact, after checking there this very morning, whatever was there was not there this morning. So why don't you guys try figure out what we're going to see, and send through your guesses to the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or use the email address questions@wildearth.tv. While we get on the long, dusty road to Cheetah Plains, let's go back to Sam and Tingana.
Look at this. Here we are by the kill. Isn't it remarkable to see it in the tree? Have a look at all the flies that are flying on it. There's a whole bunch of ants that are there as we move up on the tree. Have a look at that. What has Tingana done here? He's gone and got the most nutritional value that he could get. Yo. Whoa, the smell here, Zoe, is quite remarkable. I'm actually holding my nose. Joking, I'm not holding my nose. I'm actually okay, I can do this. But it is a dreadful smell. It is a dreadful smell. And that's also a key indicator that it can help us find animals out here. When you hear when you know that a leopard is made a kill, you can smell this, and you can take you straight to where it is. And look at all those flies. You can see such good definition on those flies. And they'll be laying maggots, laying eggs that will turn into maggots that'll then also eat a part of this carcass. Wow, look at just... Wow. Dave, go close towards the neck there. Can you see those holes in the neck? Can you see? That's remarkable. That is where Tingana came and made his hit on this animal. If you just go slightly down there, you can see quite a big one. And you know, it's very clever what leopards do. They will go straight for that area because it makes the animal as silent as possible. Because if they make the animal make a lot of noise out here in the bush, it's basically an alarm call for all sorts of animals to come here and feed and get what they can. So the quieter they can make a kill, the better. Because you can imagine when they make a kill and it starts making a huge noise, the hyenas will be able to hear it from not so far, and he's in trouble straight away. So over time, the leopard has developed the understanding that it needs to make the kill silent as possible. Let's get a close-up on the kill itself. Wow. Wow. You can actually see his ribs. A close-up on the ribs there. Wow. And have a look at those flies that are inside of the stomach. As I said, the hyenas and the vultures will be the sanitizers of this bush. So whatever's been left over of this carcass will be eaten by either the hyena or the vulture. And that is really good because it gets rid of any disease or any sort of thing that might find its way to an old carcass. Wow. And it's lying in a jackalberry tree. And that's a very iconic and classic thing to see out here when you see a kill in a jackalberry tree. Leopards love jackalberries because they create such a beautiful space for them to lie on. Ooh, here comes Tingana. He's having a look. Is he? Oh, this is incredible. There he goes up the tree. Straight to the kill. This is the action that we wanted to see. This is exactly what Oh wow, look how beautiful you are. If you can screenshot this, Tingana right next to his kill, looking over the land in his jackalberry tree. Jeepers. That was incredible. I didn't even see that coming. Thank you, Tingana, for that excellent jumping skills up the tree. Can't say I can do that at all. And what's interesting is what has been designed in leopards is the way in which they have the ability to climb up trees. If you've noticed, cheetah can't do that. Have you ever seen a cheetah trying to climb a tree or a lion trying to climb a tree? It's much harder. Leopards are able to put their arms around the tree and climb it. But we were so lucky to get in this right position, right by the kill, that will then give us the opportunity to see this all unfold right in front of us. It's truly epic to be on Safari Live right now, to see Tingana with its kill. I'm just going to move a little bit forward so I can give space for other people to have the opportunity to view this. Wow, guys, this is so cool. I'm trying to feed. It's incredible that they have the power to be able to take something. Wow. It's got its head. Take a look at this. Oof. I'm going to be quiet so you can hear the sound. Have a look at Tingana, everyone, and listen to the sound. Why I want you to listen to the sound, you can almost hear the bones cracking on the side of the tree. You can hear the power of Tingana. Look at those paws. Strong, strong body. And you can still see he's so full. Look how full his stomach is. You can just see the legs dangling on the right there. The stomach is open on top of the tree. Tingana is ripping what looks to be the head. This is something you're not going to see often. Well, it's something I haven't seen often. Maybe while you guys have been watching Safari Live, you've seen Tingana do this a few times. This is the first time I'm ever seeing it. And if we're lucky, we're going to hear some hyenas coming. Our beard is asking, would a leopard ever abandon its kill? But, you know, it's very circumstantial. You know, if you're a female leopard, oh wow, look at this. Let's just take this in. He's got his mouth wrapped over the neck of this young kudu. Look at that eye of the leopard. Take that in. Wow. As I said, it's very circumstantial. Ooh, no, let's see. Oh, we got hyenas. We got hyenas. As I said, we have Any opportunity the hyenas can get something to eat, they'll come. And here they are. As we predicted, they are underneath the tree. Well, it's one hyena beneath the tree. Tingana's still ripping. The action is unfolding right before us. Have a look at the hyena. He's smelling the bottom of the tree. He's found something that's fallen from the bottom of the tree, and he's just scavenging what he can find. Or she. I can't tell if it's a male or a female. Oh, what's going on? Oh no, Tingana's. It's hanging right beneath the hyena. He doesn't want to drop. Look at him looking down at the hyena. Monique in London's asking if leopards ever fall out trees. Well, they're very much like cats. So if they did fall down, they would be able to land on their four feet. They're very agile cats. So I'm sure, oh, Tingana, can you have a look at the cut on the side of his leg there? There's a cut on Tingana's leg. Okay, come back, let's have it, let's see what's going on here. The hyena's just beneath here. The kudu's head is facing it. Any opportunity that this hyena can get to catch that, it will do so. It's now starting to hang. This is unreal, everyone. This is a sighting I have never seen before. Look at Tingana. He's looking down at us in the tree. What's he gonna do? What is he gonna do? You've been exceptionally lucky to watch this, as we just came to have a look at the kill to see it, and Tingana came straight up. It's provided a whole bunch of action, but it looks like it's going to fall down. It's 90% in the air. I don't even know what is holding it. Might be his claw that's holding it. But you know what would be so interesting is if the carcass was to fall, what would happen? What would happen if that carcass was to fall? It seems like he's waiting it out. Here's the hyena. It's just behind our vehicle. It looks like he's still trying to scavenge what he can. So he's now trying to wrap the other side back up. As he does so, pieces are falling to the ground. The hyena will make use of anything that falls off this tree. There, as I said, he can see pieces falling down. The hyena's now taking what he can. This is an unreal sighting. Look at it swinging in the air there. Come get it back up there, Tingana. Ooh, look at it's gonna fall. Is it gonna fall? Wow, that's incredible. Listen to him eating. Listen to the sound of him eating. Listen to that breath. He's tired now. He's very full and he's very tired. He's been trying to pull this carcass back up the tree. I don't know if you've just joined. we were sitting with Tingana while he was sitting underneath this jackalberry. Ooh, and now the hyena's just sitting here, waiting for something to happen. Maybe something will fall, and he'll be able to catch and eat and scavenge what he can. Just as I was saying, we were sitting next to Tingana. We just came to have a look at the kill and try and work out, and just see what had been eaten, how it was killed. And next thing, Tingana just jumps up onto the tree and brings us such incredible entertainment. Wow. Bella, it does look like he's teasing the hyena. But look, nice, doing a good job of getting it back up onto the tree. No more teasing. I think he's done with his teasing now. And now he's going to feed what he can. Remarkable. You can hear him feeding. If you listen carefully, you can just hear the sound of him ripping. Welcome, Mrs. Clark from Cock High School. What? Sorry. It's all going down here at the moment as the leopard's in the tree with the kill. Welcome to our afternoon safari. We were just sitting with this male leopard for a little bit. We're so excited to have you with us. Listen to the sound of this leopard eating in the tree. Wow. You can actually see his jaws going over the kill and eating what he can. You guys have just arrived for all the excitement it's just unfolded straight away. You're just in time. Tingana was sitting underneath this tree. Tingana is our male leopard that lives on this reserve. We found him this morning and now we've come back to him this afternoon. There's a hyena beneath the tree, trying to scavenge what he can from the kill. It is a young kudu that is in the tree. That is the kill. What are you going to do, Tingana? Tingana's back up. Oof. Look at his stomach. His stomach is very, very full. And you can see that beautiful coat now in the sun. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon. The sun is beautifully on top of this leopard, giving it that golden sheen as it feeds on this young kudu with a hyena beneath it. Wow, this is an unreal sighting. To the kids, have you ever experienced something and seen something like this? If you have, let us know what you know about leopards. And what do you know about hyenas? Because this is a very, very incredible sighting that you've come into. You can start to see how this ecosystem works with the hyena that's just beneath, trying to scavenge what it can from the kill. While we sit here, let's go and see what Brent's up to. Jeepers, my words have lost themselves in this action. Let's go see what Brent's up to.
So we are on Cheetah Plains. Oh, there's a buffalo in front of us. But that is not what we're here for. And a big welcome to Cox High School and Mrs. Clark's biology class. Now, here we go. We have some wonderful buffalo bulls wallowing in the mud. Hello, guys. So they often spend quite a bit of time in the mud like this, to try escape the biting flies and other creatures that cause them discomfort, such as ticks. So they'll roll in the mud, encase those ectoparasites in the mud, and then go rub it off against a tree or a log, and that will cause those ticks to fall off. But we've come down here for a very special sighting of an animal I haven't seen in quite some time. So we will come back to the buffaloes. And we have arrived at 3 in a row pan. And this morning I was looking for this very specific animal, but unfortunately we didn't find it. Now, I know we have Mrs. Cox's class with us, but we have a very, very special creature to show you, and it is one of our favorite creatures. We haven't seen it in a long time, this particular creature, and he is looking very, very comfortable. And there we go, high in the boughs of a marula is a young male leopard who goes by the name of Quarantine. Absolutely fast asleep. So on hot days, leopards will sometimes sleep in trees even when they don't have a kill. It's a bit cooler up there, there's a bit more of a breeze, and it keeps them out of the biting flies. Thanks very much, F. So Ephraim is the one who notified us about this beautiful, beautiful leopard. Oh, he just moved his head slightly. Let's see where he puts his head back. Oh, it looks like he's very dozy. He's put his head back in the spot. So, unlike the big male leopard you saw with Sam, who's Tingana, who's the dominant male in this area, he's still too young to challenge for territory. So what he does is he tries to avoid leopards like Tingana. So he will sneak around and try and make sure he isn't caught by any of the big males. Now when he gets to about 5-6 years old, he'll be big enough and strong enough to challenge for his own territory. And this is normally a distance from where he was born. So that's how leopards keep their genetics good, is because they get chased from their natal area and can end up as far as, I think the record is about 400 kilometers for a dispersal male leopard from where he was born to where he set up territory. But normally it's between 20 and 30 kilometers in this area, sometimes a little bit less. Well, Joe Kwan would like to know, how do leopards get gazelles in the tree? Well, the leopards we get here are not going to be lifting any gazelles, they'll be doing antelope. But they're incredibly strong. They'll hold them between their front legs and lift them vertically straight up. So basically run up the tree using their claws to sink into the tree, and they'll run up the tree. Look at that. He is very comfy. Now, we've spent a lot of time with this male leopard over the years. McKenna's wondering, where does the leopard live? Does it live in the tree or near the tree? Well, McKenna, a leopard doesn't live anywhere in particular. It has a territory. This guy is what we would call a dispersal male, so he doesn't have a fixed territory. He just moves all over the place. But when he's an adult, he'll have a fixed territory of around 4,000 or 5,000 acres that he'll defend against other males. And females will do the same, except their territories are generally a bit smaller. A male's territory can encompass up to 4 or 5 different females, so it gives him a chance to mate with as many females as possible and ensure his genetic code is passed on to the next generation. So this young male leopard here, and he's quite big for a youngster, but he probably weighs around 70 kilograms. I'm not sure what that's, under 200 pounds, I think it's about 180, maybe a bit less. Sorry, maths was never my strong point, but fortunately tracking leopards is. I'm pretty sure, especially around the waterhole here, so it's almost 200 pounds, 70 kilograms. So next to the water here, and especially because there are those old buffalo bulls around, we'll have lots of flies, and that's why he's sleeping up high. Danny's wondering what is the water source for leopards. They'll drink out of all the sort of pans in the area or rivers, but they're not completely dependent on water. They can get enough moisture from their kills, but if there is standing water around, they will take advantage of that. And look at that, see how he disappears as we zoom out? There's a little mud wallow here that he will drink out of. There's a little bit of water on the far side of it. There's a bit of water in there, and then there's the water where those buffalo were. So Courtney's wondering, how many kills does it take an adult male leopard in a month to sort of stay healthy? Well, Courtney, it also depends on the size of the kills, but they generally kill every 2 to 3 days, so let's call that twice a week. So 8 to 10 kills a month would keep them healthy. Some months they might kill a bit more, some months they might kill a bit less. So there's definitely peaks in predation where hunting's easier for them. One is the impala lambing season. So when all the impala give birth, there's lots of easy food around for them. And the other time is coming up now at the end of the dry season, where a lot of the animals have lost a bit of condition because there hasn't been as good food around. It becomes a little bit easier for them to catch. So you probably find there are peaks during the year, or certain months where they will kill more, and certain months where they will kill less. They also have more success on dark, sort of cloudy, stormy, windy, rainy nights, when the other animals like impala's senses are affected. They can't hear as well, they can't smell as well. But he's looking very, very comfortable. So Leo is wondering, do leopards normally sleep in trees, and how long is their normal sort of sleeping period? Well, Leo, most of the time they actually sleep on the ground, and when it's hot or there's lots of insects around, they will sleep in the tree, or when they've got a kill. Now, leopards are slightly less lazy than lions, but only slightly. Leopards, on average, will probably sleep for about 18 hours a day. 16 to 18 hours a day that they'll sleep, whereas lions will sleep for about 20. So Chloe's wondering if I'm ever worried about the animals attacking me. I'm not, Chloe. I'm very lucky. I grew up in the bush with lots of animals around me, so I have a very, very healthy respect for them, and I read their body language and behavior, and if I get any of the behavior that they're very upset with us or they might be attacking us, I try to get out of that position before it even happens. So avoiding conflict is probably the best thing here. So you can always see, especially with ellies and stuff, if they're a little bit upset, and you can just avoid that situation rather than put yourself in a dangerous situation. So I'm not to say it's impossible that we'll never get attacked, but it's just highly unlikely. Very peaceful scene. Now in this area, one of the leopard's favorite trees is a marula tree, and another animal whose favorite tree is one of their favorite trees is a marula tree is the animal that Sam's got. Sorry about that. It seems like Sam might have lost the largest animal in the African bush, but hopefully he'll find it again shortly. It's very, very still. There's actually very few birds calling at the moment. Not much movement around. But as we say, Sam has now found the other animal who is very fond of marula trees. So let's go take a look.
We have just had the most magnificent sighting with that leopard. Tingana, thank you so much for such an incredible experience. We are now following a big bull. The big bull wasn't very happy when he saw us, so I'm just trying to give him as much space as possible, but have a look at the size of this ellie that is on the road in front of us. You see, he's very cautious of us. Every single few seconds he looks back and has a look to see what we're doing. I'm going to give it a lot of space, just so that we can view him from a distance. Leo, what is it like living on a game reserve? It is the best thing in the whole world. Sorry, that is quite an over-exaggeration. The best thing in the whole world relative to different people. But Leo, it is amazing to sit with elephants and leopards and cheetah and all the many things that are out here. So I'm a very, very lucky man to be able to sit with this magnificent elephant that's just to the left of us, with a beautiful sun that is beginning to set over the west. Look how big he is, Leo. And you can see those birds that are sitting right next to the ellie. Those are called fork-tailed jongos, and they follow the elephants wherever the elephant goes and picks all the insects that are coming off the feet, or as it goes through the grasses, it'll eat all those insects. But look at the size of those ears. Imagine we had ears that big. Jeepers, we'd hear anything. Just going to see if we can get a better shot of this big bull. David, you're asking, do elephants normally travel in groups? David, they do. You often find them in big breeding herds, which is normally full of lots of youngsters and moms. This that we're seeing at the moment is a big male bull. So it sits on its own and it'll feed, and sometimes it'll join the social groups. But mainly when you see ellies, or most of the time, you see them in big groups as they feed together, they drink together. So that is an amazing, look at that shot of that ellie in through. Look how big it is. You can see it in contrast to that tree and the size of those tusks. Wow, that is a big male elephant. Let's see if we can just get a little picture of him as he eats. Watch how he eats, how he puts his big trunk around the branch and wrap his trunk around the branch and strip all the leaves and eat it. Hopefully we'll get to see that. Ooh, sorry about that. Wow. I'm not going to follow him too deep into this. You can see him heading over there. But he eats pretty much the whole day, Josh. Josh, he eats for about 22 hours. I'm not sure on the exact figure of how much it is that they eat, but they eat for 22 hours basically, so they are constantly eating. But you have to have a lot of respect for an ellie, because if you show them, if you get too close to the ellie, they'll get angry and they'll show you that they're angry. So when I first saw the ellie, we were too close and I said, okay, I'm going to give you as much distance as you need. And so he's now off into the thicket, and I think we should just let him be, let him enjoy eating for the next 22 hours before he has a little relax. We'll see you later. Big, beautiful bull elephant. Look at the dust flying off him over there. Oof. We've had a very exciting afternoon, I tell you. Leopards and elephants. What else do you want to see? Hashtag Safari Live. What would you like to see? It was Tyrone. Tyrone, that is a pretty cool name. How much do they weigh? Well, they can weigh all the way up to 7 tons. 7 tons. That's very, very heavy. How much do you think this car is, Dave?
Under a ton.
So it's about
Maybe half.
a couple of these cars, or 2 of these cars maybe will be an elephant. And imagine that stepping on your foot wouldn't be too comfortable, hey Tyrone? Brent is with the leopard. Let's go and see how he's doing. We'll see you guys just now.
So all the leopard has done is move his head to the other side of the tree. And like most big cats, they do need to rest quite a while. As I said, about 16 to 18 hours a day for leopards. Well, McKenna's wondering, are elephants territorial like leopards? No, they are not. They have home ranges, so the leopards will be the elephants will move in an area. A family group or a breeding herd will have an area that they move in, but they will often go out of it, and they're not strictly territorial like leopards. And the elephant bulls can roam very big distances. Well, Marie is wondering how I started my career in the bush. For Marie, I was very lucky. I was born to a bush family. My dad is a great lover of the bush and has been involved in the safari industry and wildlife industry for many, many years. So I grew up in the bush, in lodges in Botswana and South Africa. And once I finished high school, I sort of always knew I wanted to be in the bush, but for some strange reason, I decided to study law. That didn't work out so well, so I ended up back working in the bush when I was about 19, and have been in the bush ever since. So it was sort of a natural progression after growing up in the safari industry to just stay in the safari industry. And I've been very lucky. I've worked in some incredible places all over Africa: Tanzania, Kenya, Botswana, Zambia, Gabon, Namibia, Uganda. So all over the place, and there's still quite a few African countries I can't wait to visit. Oh, I have a hawk moth that is after me. Where's he gone?
He flew away.
He got away. It was a little hawk moth. You can see his ears aren't twitching as much as leopards sometimes do, because he's managed to get away from the majority of the flies. Can you go back a little bit, right? Roll car. Oh, now we're going to have to start. Now, that is a very comfortable looking leopard. So I'm hoping as it gets cooler, he's going to come down the tree. Maybe he'll go for a drink. So leopards are opportunists like most predators, and Josh is wondering, do they hunt more in the day or at night? Well, if something happened to come across during the day, they would definitely hunt it, but they generally are more nocturnal hunters. So they spend most of their time moving is also in the darkness, and they can cover quite big distances while they hunt at night, but definitely prefer hunting at night than during the day. And that was a question from Josh. Now, it is an amazing evolutionary adaptation being able to climb as a big cat. It puts that chance to put their kills in the tree away from hyenas and from lions and other creatures. Now, Ella's wondering, will leopards eat the whole kill in one sitting? Well, they will try. Ella, sorry. Well, Ella, they will normally start with the really good bits, the liver, the heart, the lungs, high in nutrients, high in minerals. And then after that, they normally start on the rump. Now, there are pieces of an animal that a leopard cannot digest, and that's the horns, the hooves, and the teeth. And there are also certain bones, and that will be in the most gazelles, or not gazelles, and antelope, that will be too big for the leopard to crunch up. So they will leave those. Brendan's wondering if I've ever been attacked by a predator. I've been charged by lions before and leopards, but generally, luckily, a good shouting changes their mind and they stop their charge. But I've been charged by lions quite a few times and by leopards a few times. But they've never physically attacked me or jumped on me. Well, leopards are the most adaptable of the big cats, and they can occur through many different types of habitats. But now, while we sit here with this sleeping leopard, let's go across to Sam, who's got one of the leopard's favorite foods.
Shoulders. Whoa. Look at the size of the horns on this impala. So what we saw in the tree a bit earlier was also an antelope, but it was a kudu. And what we're seeing in front of us right now is an impala. So there's a number of them here, but there's one that we can only see now. It's a group of them. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 males that are out here, and they'll be walking around, doing things together, trying to get bigger, trying to get as big as they can. They'll have fights with those horns. Look how beautifully groomed they look. They almost look like they've been brushed by a hairbrush. Isn't that magnificent? Look at them as they walk through. They are really, really beautiful antelope that have big horns, and they'll be fighting against each other to try and create dominance and get bigger and stronger so that they can have the most females out here and get their gene. Wow, look at the size of those horns. Brendan, does this reserve have hyena, zebra and ostrich? Yes, they do. We saw a hyena just now, which was very, very exciting, and a hyena would definitely kill one of these impala that we're seeing over here. The other one was a zebra. Yes, we see zebra. I saw zebra the other day. You can see, where's zebra from? What's that movie called with the zebra? What is the name of it? Black and white stripes, but there's one Oh, Madagascar it's called. That's one with the zebra. So you'll know that from Madagascar with the zebra. Such a cool animal. It almost looks like a horse, but it's not. It's a zebra. And the third one that you said was an ostrich. And look, this is what an ostrich looks like. An ostrich has a head like this. So imagine this is an ostrich over here. And it kind of has a little beak over there and moves around like this. Big body, and they run around, and it's so cool to watch ostriches run. So hopefully, if you watch Safari Live one day, well, you might be able to see it, because we have now got territory where we can go to where we can often find ostriches, which will be very, 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 very cool. But here we were with these impala. So what we saw earlier, which was the leopard, will want to kill and eat these impala and also put them up in trees. Jay, what is everyday life like for me as a game ranger or a safari guide, rather a safari guide out here? It's amazing. I mean, look at that beautiful sunset. Just take that in over there. I mean, I get to look at that every single day and watch the beautiful sun dip into the horizon. And then I get to have a great time with my cameraman, Dave. Myself and Dave have had a great time seeing all sorts of animals on the property over the last few days.
The best time.
The best time, Dave says. And the best part about it is to just see what else lives on this planet, because there is so much other than humans that live here, from the zebra to the little tiny birds that are here to the big birds like the ostriches. So it's amazing to be able to learn and see life that exists other than humans. So I'm very happy over here. Very, very happy. Rachel, antlers are otherwise known as horns, and do they go back do they break if they go back? I think I understood that question. I've never seen that before, to be honest, Rachel, as they go back. I've never seen that before. I've once seen an impala that only had one horn, and the other one was fallen or broken off somehow, so who knows how that fell off? We don't know until we get the opportunity to ask the impala or see something happening. But good question, Rachel. Sam, great name. That is a great name. That is my name too. Do they also do impala fight for dominance and territory? That is correct. They will fight against the other males to see who can get the best availability for food and water to look after the females, that they can start having, or to have big groups. The November season, in the rainy season. So, look.
So welcome back. We're still sitting with this young male leopard, waiting for him to hopefully come down. Now, leopard, or the ancestors of leopard, have been found in Africa and Asia, and the oldest fossils of a leopard-like animal are from about 3.5 million years ago. So it's taken them quite a while to evolve into this almost picture-perfect predator that it is now. And the modern leopard evolved about 500,000 years ago in Africa, and then moved across through into Asia and spread its range about 170,000 years ago. I imagine this incredible that fossilized leopard bones have been found just outside, just northeast of London. and also just outside Perrier in France, and across 40 other different sites in what is considered old world Europe. So McKenna's wondering, does the engine noise ever startle the animals? Occasionally it does, but as you notice there, he didn't even open his eyes when that other car moved off. Now, he's been around vehicles since he was a tiny cub. So this particular leopard is very, very relaxed around cars. So he's not at all disturbed, but sometimes if you have an unrelaxed animal, they can get a startle from a vehicle, and you just have to drive more carefully. And again, that's reading the animal's body language. Let's just try and change the angle up a bit, see if we get a better view from the other side. How's that, Brian? Good further?
Good.
Oopsie. So Sam's wondering, do we ever introduce new species or animals into the reserve? We would never introduce a species that didn't occur here naturally, Sam. And this is a part of an open system with national parks. So only animals that would have occurred here that have maybe been removed by humans can be reintroduced. And over the years, there have been a few reintroductions I'm trying to think now. What was the last? Wildebeest. The wildebeest numbers took quite a plummet due to lots of outside reasoning a few years ago. So they did bring in a couple of hundred wildebeest. And I'm trying to think what else. I think that's the last thing that was brought into the reserve. Sometimes we also do, the Sabi Sands will catch and remove animals. With this drought that we're going through at the moment, they've caught a bunch of hippos and moved them elsewhere. But generally, we don't interfere too much. We just let nature take its course. So Hayden's wondering, are there fences around the reserve? So Hayden, there's a sort of a western fence line, a northwestern fence line, and then a southern fence line, but there's no eastern fence line. So there are fences between the reserve and the local communities that live just outside, but between the Kruger National Park there's no fence. So this means we are part of an area that is called the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park, and that is an unfenced area of around 9 million acres that is set aside for wild animals to be free. So he's not moving too much, and I can hear an interesting bird making a noise. So Tyrone was wondering, what is my favorite animal? Tyrone, I'm sorry, I was laughing at the way the leopard's lying. He's got his bum out in the air. So Tyrone, my favorite animal is the African wild dog. You know, it's for me, the most exciting animal to follow because they're always moving, and they're also really, really active hunters, and they hunt twice a day. But there's the bird who's been making all the noise. It is called a hammerkop. Basically translates to hammerhead. His head is shaped like a hammer, and it is a type of heron. But these little guys build the biggest nests. A hammerkop nest can weigh 200-300 pounds even, and they have a tiny little hole in the middle that they live in, and quite often you get birds like owls nest on top of them. But hammerkop little heron species. They are great lovers of frogs as one of their favorite foods, and that's more than likely what this guy is looking for here at this little water hole. Now he doesn't want to call, he's got all shy. Oh, there he flies. Brendan's asking what types of monkeys live in the reserve. Brendan, we only have one monkey species in the reserve, and it's called a vervet or green monkey. And that's biting flies. They have been introduced into parts of North America, I think, down in the south in the Caribbean. I think you call them green monkeys there, but it's called a vervet monkey. The other primate, or large primate we get in the reserve, is the chacma baboon. So that is not a monkey, but a baboon, obviously still a primate. And then we have two smaller species of primates, the thick-tailed bush baby, which is the biggest of their species, and the little tiny one, which is called the South African galago, or lesser bush baby. Yeah, you can hear him calling now. And the sun is setting, so it's always a fascinating time of the day. And that's why we're not going to move, because as the sun sets, we're hoping this leopard is going to come down the tree and go for a drink at the water hole. And while Brian and I observe the beauty of the setting sun, Sam has got a big buffalo to show you.
A big buffalo sitting in a watering hole here. There's actually another one just to the right of it. Check the size of these two. Now these are very, very scary animals out in the bush. If you are walking on your own, or if you're walking with someone, you have to be super careful of these buffalo, because they're quite slow, and they've been taken out of the herd. They can't keep up with the large herd anymore, so they just go and wallow and sit in these watering holes. And so when they see you, they're not going to run away some of the times. Most of the time they'll run away because we are predators, but sometimes because they're old and they're tired, they will much rather just run at you. So it's between flee or fight, and they will choose to fight. So you must always be careful when you are running, or not running, when you are walking in the bushveld and you come across a buffalo. So here we are sitting with them. Let's see what they're up to. They're grazing. They like to eat the nice green grasses that come next to the watering hole. As you can see, the one on the right might just have something to eat in the grasses there. But it's been a very, very hot day, so a lot of the time you'll find that buffaloes will sit in these watering holes to cool off. And you can also see all the mud. Check all the mud on top of it. So it'll get inside that watering hole, and it'll put all that mud over it so it can cool down from this hot African sun. David is asking, do buffaloes move in big groups? Yes, they do move in big groups. What we're seeing at the moment is a couple solitary males who can't keep up with the large herds anymore. So you get really, really big, large herds. We saw about 100 this morning, hey, Dave?
Yep.
We saw about 100 buffaloes in their herds, and normally in those herds you'll find, much like the elephants that we saw a big bull elephant a bit earlier. Now we're seeing big bull buffaloes, and they will be solitary as they get towards the end of their lives. But we often see big herds, and they will consist of mainly females and youngsters. So when you're following those big, large herds, you often find lions and other predators that will be walking and lurking behind these herds to see if they can catch a small little buffalo to take home for the evening. So yeah, you get some big, big herds here in the reserve, and it's fascinating to watch them. These guys love to just wallow and relax in this nice cool water after a very hot day. It got to about 83 degrees Fahrenheit today. I think that's right, somewhere around 83 degrees Fahrenheit. So it gets very, very hot out here in the bush. 86 was the exact temperature that I got to today. It was 86. So you can imagine it gets very hot out here. You're an animal. You can't just go find a tap and have something to drink. You need to find water, and you just sit in that water. The largest bird in this reserve, the ostrich. Surely it's got to be the ostrich. That's huge. Have you seen the size of an ostrich? It can't fly though. You can't often see that an ostrich flying, but it is a bird. It is considered a bird, and it is a very, very big bird. And the size of those eggs, if you've ever seen an ostrich egg, wow, it can go about to this big. Very, very big. And you'll see lots of animals that will try and find it. If you've heard of a honey badgers will often find the big eggs of the ostrich, and then they'll roll around it until it cracks, and then they'll eat what they can out of an ostrich egg. Wow, the ostrich wingspan, Sam, is about 2 meters big. So try and imagine that. Take 2 meters in your classroom, try and measure that out, and just see how big that wingspan is. It's massive. It truly is incredibly big. And just imagine if that bird could fly. Imagine the ostrich could fly. Imagine you saw those huge birds flying around this African bush. It would be quite a magnificent thing to see. 2 meters is around 6 feet. So I don't know how big you guys are, but take big 6 feet, walk in that classroom of yours, and just get a measurement of how big that is. I think that'll be an interesting exercise to do in your classroom. But you can see this buffalo is so happy as he relaxes in his water and eats his grass. David wants to know, how are the watering holes replenished? Well, some of the watering holes here that we get on the reserves are pumped, so that we actually have pumps that will be able to fill up some of the dams, but that's only with some of them. We have to rely on the rainfall that comes in for some of the pans and dams that are around this area, and so it's been an exceptionally dry summer season. And I'm not sure what kind of season you get your rain is over there. Let me know, #Safari Live. I'd love to know when you get your rainy season. Here in the bush, the rainy season is in summer, and we've just had summer. We are coming into winter, and we hardly got any rain this past summer. So this winter is going to be super dry, and I would recommend following us during the next couple months, because all this is going to turn a beautiful golden color, and then it will all fall, and this bush will become barren, and there's only going to be a few watering holes. And what does that mean? If there's only a few watering holes, that means there's going to be competition. That means there's going to be a number of elephants we've never seen before, a number of buffaloes we've never seen before, coming into these areas and playing in the watering holes. What comes with mammals such as buffalo, and mammals such as ellies, and not eland, we don't get eland here, kudu, and nyala, you get predators such as the leopard and the lion. So it's going to be an exceptionally exciting few months as we go into winter. It's going to get very cold here. You're going to see me with a beanie on and some gloves, but I'll be out here with Dave, the cameraman, and we're going to have some fun, I'll tell you that. It's going to be great. But let's leave these buffaloes to relax in their watering hole. I'm sure they don't want me talking next to them all the time, even though I'm sure they like to be looked at. Thank you, buffaloes. It's been exciting. Enjoy the rest of your bath. It does look like it's bath time for them. It's in the evening. Have a look at that moon, though. That moon above this watering hole is spectacular. Look, it's nearly full moon, and I'll tell you, the bush changes dramatically as the full moon appears into the night. Everything becomes a lot brighter. You can see things in the night. And I'll tell you, my favorite thing that I've ever experienced in the full moon is just sitting out here one evening as I was coming back to camp. I switched off my vehicle to listen to the sounds of the night, the different birds that come out at night time, and I had a whole breeding herd of elephants. And if you remember earlier, we spoke about breeding herds of elephants, which were females and the youngsters. And I was just sitting there and they came up the crest, which is like a small hill, and they all walked next to my vehicle, and I just sat there in silence with the moon, with the stars above me, and the gentle giants elephants walking next to me. Those are the moments in my life that I'll never ever forget, and I'll cherish them forever. With that, let's go and see what Brent's up to, and we are going to head into the drainage line to see if we can find a leopard.
So the Thumb's coming to say a quick hello before it gets too dark. Hello, Thumb. And it's not the only thing coming to say hello. Quarantine is now looking off into the distance. Not too perturbed. He's still in the exact same spot. But we are busy being joined. And we'll show you what we're being joined by shortly. And he's watching what we're being joined by quite carefully. So if we come all the way around, you can just, I heard them coming well long before we saw them, but it looks like a nice herd of elephants on their way here. You can just make out some grey shapes through the bushes at the moment. Now, Charity is wondering, how do elephants defend themselves when they're attacked by predators? Charity, it's very seldom when a predator is brave enough to attack an elephant. They're so big, so strong that they would be able to pound most predators into oblivion. Only lions, and only in certain parts of Africa do lions specialize in hunting elephants. Now, occasionally lions will go for baby eddies like those who go through there, but the females will defend them vigorously. So that clickety-click you heard is just me taking a few pictures. Now, a big bull elephant, or actually let's start with a big cow elephant like that. And Hannah's wondering, how much water will they drink on a daily basis? Hannah, a big cow like that probably drinks close on 100 litres, just under 100 litres of water per day. So they are constantly on the move for food and water. Looks like these ones aren't thirsty. They're just carrying on past the waterhole. So Josh is wondering, can you touch the elephants? You most certainly can touch the elephants, Josh, but they might touch you back. And being so big and strong, it's generally quite sore. These are wild elephants. We don't touch them. They can be very dangerous. An animal that size can really flatten you. Oh, more. The latecomers, the young bulls at the back. But so, Josh, we don't touch these elephants. If we tried to touch them, they would either run away or flatten you. Yeah. So Sam's wondering, do elephants' tusks continue to grow through their life? They do, but they obviously slow down as they get older, but they do continue to grow throughout their life. So you can just, that click is me taking a few pictures. Maybe this Eddie herd is going to stop for a mud bath. So Jaquan is wondering how many elephants are actually found in a herd. Now it completely depends. There can be as little as 3, there can be as many as 100. But normally you can say safely, oh no, they're not stopping for a mud bath. Normally they're probably around 5 to 20, sort of average herd size in this area. But they do form into bigger groups of multiple elephant herds together. So there's normally a little family nucleus like we're looking at now, but that will join up with other herds of elephants. They're interested in munching, not drinking at the moment. So Gannon and Chloe are wondering, what do elephants eat? Well, they eat lots of things. So they eat lots of the different trees and bushes we get here, and they also like grass. So during our wet season, our summer months, when there's a lot of grass, 80% of their diet is made up of grass. And now as we go through to the dry season and the grass is disappearing, 80% of their diet will change from grass to trees and bushes. Here we go, there's Mr. Q. Brandon's wondering how long an elephant's trunk is. On a big male elephant, probably over 2 meters. No, probably close on 2.5, 3 meters. And on the females, obviously slightly shorter. Now, this leopard, it doesn't look like he's about to come down at any point too soon. At least his eyes are open. They weren't open a little bit earlier. Oh, his eyes are getting heavy again. Just listening carefully to see if there are any more ellies coming. So Charity's wondering, how do elephants communicate with each other or make sounds? They have lots of different sounds, Charity, but most of the communication is done in low rumbles that are too low for us to hear. So it almost sounds, the best way I can describe it is almost like purring. Oh, there's a yawn. And so here he comes down the tree. Look at this. Oh, stretching. He's going to come down right next to us. Oh, look at that. It looks like he's got a reasonably full tummy. He's still watching those elephants in the distance. Oh no. Yes, he's coming round the tree. Is he going to come down in front of us? What is he doing? Yes, he is. Good boy. Oh, isn't that stunning? And you can see he's not as bigly built as that other male leopard, that big dominant male we're looking at. So hopefully he's going to stop for a little drink shortly. So I realize a lot of you guys in the States don't understand meters so I just said 2 meters is about 6'5". Let's see where he's going to drink. Oh, he could definitely eat. A little bit hungry. Hey, Mr. Q. So he's looking for a spot where he doesn't have to get his toes muddy. Wow, he's so close to us now. I think he's found his spot. Hopefully it's not just off the front of the vehicle. Look at that, he's right next to the car. There he goes. I think he's going to find a spot sort of over there where there's a bit of harder mud. He's going to be able to drink. There we go. What we're going to do is we're just going to move to the other side. Let's just wait a second. He might drink for quite a while. Sometimes leopards, especially if they've been sleeping for a while, will drink for a long time. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can actually hear him lapping the water. See, he doesn't even lift his head when we start the car. I'm just going to try and get a spot where we can have a better look at his beautiful face. How's that, Brian? So guys, isn't this amazing? You are sitting at high school, joining us on an African safari, and it's so great to have you with us. And I'm very happy the animals have decided to play along for your class today, and we've had some amazing sightings already. So a message from Miss Clark that everyone is so focused on this male leopard. And he's going to walk past Brian. Now this male leopard is a firm favorite of many of ours. I've actually been tracking him on foot before, and he's followed me back to the car, and he's such a cool leopard. Oh, he spotted the buffalo, and he started walking a little bit wider. Now, that buffalo are far too big for him. Quarantine's now mobile north from 300 Pan. So as it started to get dark, the sun's dipped below the horizon, and he's now starting to hunt. We will try to stay with him for as long as possible. See now he stops, listens, see if there's any potential prey up ahead. Oh, he spotted something. He spotted something. Look at him go. I think it was a squirrel or something small that managed to evade him. So when leopards stalk a big antelope or whatnot, they take their time. When it's something small, sort of an instinctive or perchance encounter with something like a squirrel or a francolin, they often will just take that chance and run. Oh, he's found something smelly to roll in. So David's wondering how fast they can move when they are going after prey. Now, a leopard's top speed is 24 meters per second. And they generally do that from very close by. They generally only will go into that full speed when they're about 5 meters away from an animal. I'm just going to go around this thicket. And the really fun thing about spending time with these young male leopards is they're quite a bit more playful than adults. So they tend to do strange things from time to time, which is always very entertaining. He's chasing birds. He's just having some fun chasing some little birds that he's no real interest in catching. He chased after a cisticola, which is about an inch long. Oh, he's going up the tree again. See, this is what I was talking about with young male leopards. They tend to be full of fun. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So lion and leopard are both what we call ambush predators. So they like to stalk till they're closer and then charge. Leopard prefer to be closer than lions before they make that charge, but lions tend to chase their prey for a bit longer, and often they're going for much bigger prey, like a buffalo that's a bit slower. Now, a male leopard's favorite prey is an impala, and I think that's what he's doing. There's an open area up ahead, and I think he's climbed up just to have it checked to make sure there's no potential prey species there. Looks like he's going to come down again, or he's going to sit and survey the savannah. Charity's wondering, why doesn't the leopard attack us? Well, firstly, Charity, it doesn't know we're here as a person. So if we had to stand up and they could see the bipedal figure of a man, it might cause him to run away or attack. But man are not leopard's normal prey. Also, we're in a car that smells a lot like petrol, diesel, or petrol, oil. So it's not something that would be very nice for him to eat. It's also very big. Isn't that just beautiful? So male leopards tend to do less of this type of behavior, the sort of running and jumping and climbing trees. They're a bit heavier, and going up the tree is a bit more work. Not to say they don't, and they're just a little bit less playful. Marie is wondering if we conduct research in the reserve. There is some research going on, and there's actually a research on the leopards going on at the moment on their genetics. So if we find any poo of a leopard we don't know, we have a little vial with us that we collect and then hand it off to the scientists, who then go study the genetics in it to try to figure out the lineages. Here he comes. Giving us a good show today, Mr. Q. And you can see how he completely ignores the vehicle. Look at that. What a beautiful leopard. Now, you guys who have joined us from Cox High School, this leopard is quite a special leopard. We saw him a lot when he was a bit younger. He used to live on Djuma, and now he pops up all over the place trying to avoid the big males. Now, I want everyone who's watching to wish him to turn east and not carry on north, because otherwise it's going to go out of our traverse area. So the animals are able to go wherever they would like, but we aren't, unfortunately. He's just stopping and he's listening. He could be listening for the sounds of impala or any other small to medium-sized antelope, which make up most of his prey. You see, the flies are still irritating him, even though it's dark and there's a lot less flies. Lovely cool breeze. You can just see the grass moving. I'm trying to listen with him, see if I can hear anything. Of course, his hearing's much better than mine. I can't hear anything. Maybe he can, with that fantastic hearing of his. But see how he moves his ears around and focuses them in the direction he wants to listen. Now, a very interesting thing about him being able to do that is some people can wiggle their ears. Now, that is a leftover skill from when we used to live out in the African savannas, and the more we evolve, the less we need little skills like that. and they've done some really interesting tests on that. So there's this tiny little remnant muscles behind your ears, and even people who can't wiggle their ears, if they're trying to listen for something, those little muscles twitch and actually try to find where the sound's coming from. So that's of course when we were still ape men and our ears had a bit more mobility than they do now, when we had to listen out for lions and things trying to eat us. Oh, big yawn. Look how beautiful those eyes are. You can see those little flies buzzing around his ears. Oh, he's going to go behind us this time. Keep with him as he moves through the bush, or we'll try keep with him. If he goes into an area that's too thick for us to follow at night, we'll just let him be. Now we've got to be careful. A lot of these bushes around here are what we call flat tire trees. The zebra wood, one of the most dense and hard woods. It doesn't have any thorns, but it's got spines that give us quite a few flat tires. Well, a comment from Nicola Austin, who is an ex-Safari Live director. She says, "Hey, Brenty, you found my favorite leopard. May he go east." Well, Nicola, it doesn't look like he's listening to you and he's going west, but nice to have you watching the show. So, to the whole class of Mrs. Clark from Cox High School, it's been great having you on the drive. Can't wait to have you on the next one. Don't forget, you can always watch us when you're not at school. It's quite fun. But until the next school drive, we're going to love you and leave you for now. We're going to stay with this leopard for as long as possible. Always great having the schools on with us, but welcome back to all our other viewers, and please send through your questions. We do appreciate them, and if you're not sure how to do that, remember questions@wildearth.tv or hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. And how exciting is this? The quarantine male leopard! I literally did a dance in my seat when that update came over the radio. It's been so long since we've seen him, and even longer since we've seen his brother. So hopefully his brother also decides to make an appearance in the next little while. And look at that lovely sky behind him. James Richard says if he had to be an animal for a day, it'd definitely be Q. He's sleek, agile, and an absolute beauty. Well put, James. I agree with you completely, although I do think his brother's a little better looking. So while we reposition, we're not going to leave Mr. Q, but Sam has got something interesting to show you.
Yeah, Chris, we've got a good one.
You're live, Sam.
Oh, wow. Look at this little critter over here. Look at him on the end of his stick. So we've been from leopards hunting to a tiny little worm. It's on top of the stick. I haven't got a good angle of him. Let's see if we can get a better angle of him. There he is. You can just see his head at the end there. He actually looks like he's part of the stick. But in a few seconds, we're going to watch him move. I'm going to count. 3, 2, 1. He's going to move. Oh well, that's okay. So it's a little guy. Let's see if we can...
Maybe try and angle from this side. You might be able to see him better.
Right.
You can hold it if you want.
There's a tiny little wormy. We're going to see if we can get another angle of him.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So it looks like we lost that little worm. It was very difficult to see him, but it was just incredible how your eyes can pick up on the slightest, the smallest thing in the bush. And that little wormy who's out there is actually a caterpillar, not a worm. And he's going to be out there grazing or browsing on the leaves, and he'll turn into a beautiful butterfly when the day comes, and he'll go and mate. And butterflies can only live up to around 3 days. So it's just an incredible thing to see a caterpillar in the flesh like that. Let's just see if we can see him one more time. Dave said you can see him there. There he is. Wow, look at him as he moves about the tree. The life of a little caterpillar on a tree. And what do you think would eat this caterpillar? Potentially a little birdie that is coming for his snack to eat at night time. It's amazing when you see these little creatures that are lurking in the night, lurking in the day. They're all there. You just have to open your eyes a little bit more to see the small things in life. And it's just incredible to watch him move on these leaves. Wow. Move into a position. Alright, so I'm having problems with my audio, so I can't hear anything that's coming into my ear, but that's okay. I'm going to see if I can get it back out. So we're going to carry on into the night and see what we can find. With that, let's just go and see what Brent's up to, and we'll see you now.
There he is. He hasn't moved, still grooming. Well, he was grooming half a second ago. Looks like biting at the flies. So wonderful to catch up with. Look at him. Yes, I'm sorry. I also get very annoyed at them. I swat myself constantly. So is looking a little hungry, not too bad. He's still looking in wonderful condition. Look at those eyes. I know a lot of you have missed that face. I do miss spending time with young male leopards. They're such good entertainment. Hey, Mr. Q. It's so exciting to have him back. And is the moon out enough yet, Brian?
Oh, we might just be able to start getting some good shots.
Yes, we've got the camera that has some night vision capability, so we might be playing with settings in a few seconds. Oh, that's a bigger stump. Okay. Unfortunately, he is very close to the boundary. And where did he go? Maybe he went up to, yes, good old Q, termite mound. So Kat in Tampa said she's noticed that he hasn't done any scent marking. Is that because he's young and hasn't an established territory yet? That is spot on, Kat. If he decided to start scent marking, the male leopards who just chase him now might take a serious offense to that and really start harassing him. Zoe would like to know, is Q mating yet? No, he's not, Zoe. He's still quite a few years away from being able to mate. And he's probably capable of mating, but the male leopards, the adult male leopards wouldn't let him. Look at that beautiful sky behind him. So this is the joy of this camera. I mean, he's right at the edge of our side lights, but still it's coming through really nice and bright for you. He's taking me through quite a thick area here. Isn't this just so special? A real treat to be with the quarantine male leopard again. Definitely quite a bit bigger since the last time I saw him. And it has been quite a while. I can't actually remember the last time I saw Mr. Q. He's smelt something interesting. Not that interesting, though. Unfortunately, he is continuing in the wrong direction, but we will stay with him as long as possible. You see him?
There it is.
Yeah, it's just coming out. There we go. His ears listening intently to the sounds of the bush, the sounds of a potential meal. Susan's wondering, can you tell the difference between a male and female leopard by looking at their faces? Yes, the males are quite a lot bigger, and even a leopard of about a year old is already bigger than his mom. So there's quite a big size difference. The males can be upward of 50% bigger than the females. So just their size, and of course with that size comes a bigger head. Now he's quite capable of taking some quite big prey. We've seen him kill adult female kudu before, which is incredible.
Tell me when we're there. Right, everyone, we've just come through to the bush and we saw something quite cool just now. And I wanted to see if I could show you all. We're just reversing slowly in the darkness. So I have to be take a little bit of concentration on trying to find. Here we go. Ooh, I'm just going to try to get into a better position. There we go. So myself and Dave have been out trying to find and learn a little bit about the night creatures that are out here tonight. And, you know, if we have a look at this tree that's in front of us here, this is a tamboti tree. And I'm just going to go to the other side of it. Now, look at how this tree has been ripped out of the ground by an elephant. You can really see the power of an elephant that's able to pull and rip something out of the ground like this. It really is quite magnificent. But what's really important is to learn about what will happen to this log and the life that exists in a log. And in this log, the log will begin to decay, and you'll find that you'll find spiders and scorpions and all sorts of little bugs that will make its way and nest inside the log of this, what looks like a tamboti tree. So I just thought it would be really important to show some of the viewers at night time. We had some bugs crawling on it a little bit earlier, but there's no bugs there anymore. But it's amazing, when you stop to look at a log, you often just think that's just a log. But in actual fact, the life that exists within a log is just exponential. And when you stop to look for it, you'll begin to see that little ant moving and that scorpion sting moving around and all those little things. That for me is one of the most exciting things I love about the bush, is finding the small things, understanding them a little bit more. Because we've been so privileged to understand and see all the big things in the natural world. And it was an opportunity for us to have a look for the small things. With that, I'm just going to find my audio.
Link to Brent.
Okay.
Quarantine's just spotted something and he's crossing our boundary. Lights are going down, but we've got the night vision camera. We're going to try and play with the settings. I can't see anything now. It's pitch black. There we go. I'm looking at the monitor. I can just make him out. But he's right on our northern boundary at Cheetah Plains. He has seen something just from his behavior. He's coming straight back down the road towards us. Look at that. Isn't this amazing? I don't know what he's seen. Our lights are not shining on him. Even our side lights are not. The camera's just grabbing all ambient light around. So it is a bit grainy, but isn't this incredible?
Turn your light away. That light's affecting the lens. Yeah.
So he's coming straight towards us. So that light he's popping into now is the light that shines onto me, so it's a very dull light. He's going around the side of the car. Oh dear. Can you see him, Brian?
He's right behind us. Walking down the road.
Whoopsie. There goes my binoculars. Sorry about that.
He's about 20 behind us.
Okay. Does it look like he's still stalking?
Yeah, he's looking to the left-hand side of the road.
Okay. We're just gonna go away from him and turn around. Just find a quick place to turn. I wonder what he's seen. This is so exciting. Unfortunately, we are running a little bit low on battery, so if we do disappear, I do apologize profusely. So there we go. I literally cannot see that. The only way I can see it is to watch my monitor. So we're just trying to see if we can see him. He might have disappeared off into the bush. Just trying to see if I can see his tracks on the road. Yes. There's his tracks there. They are. And his tracks still go down the road, so. His tracks have gone off. No, they're back on the road. So I'm just using the lights to see his footprints. And his footprints have now disappeared. So he's gone off the road to the north of us here. Unfortunately, it is out of our traverse area. But we won't just sit here and listen for a second. Now, while we sit and listen, we can have a look at the moon. You can see there's quite a bit of dust in the air. Brian will fiddle with the settings now. There we go, look at that. So what I'm listening for is the sound of him either catching something or the sound of a impala snorting if he's been spotted. At the moment, all I can hear is a hornbill, tock, 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 tock in a tree, and a little scops owlet. So it looks like whatever he's stalking is off to the north of us. And I think we're just gonna leave him be. Hopefully, he was quite hungry, so hopefully he does manage to catch a snack. Oh, let's go out of flow range. A bit quicker to reverse that way. So his tracks went off about there and into the bush there. So I wonder what was there. But let's give him the best chance possible. He was quite hungry, and of course, unfortunately for us, even if we hear him catch something, we can't go across this boundary. Oh, so exciting to see Q again. And I do miss those young male leopards and their playfulness. They are wonderful to spend time with. Definitely might be worth coming to have another look around here in the morning. Those male, he might move up and down. He might, if he does catch something there, he might go for a drink at the 3 in a row pan where we found him today. So let's see what else the last few moments of the drive can give us. And a big thanks to Ephraim who let us know about the quarantine mail being here. So definitely worth the long road down to Cheetah Plains this evening to catch up with one of our favorite boys. Steph is saying, please come to Cheetah Plains in the morning to follow up. Steph, I think tomorrow morning I'll have a word with James and Sam, make sure one of them does. So what a wonderful, wonderful thing, and nice to see him in such good health, even though he was a little on the hungry side. It looks like he's avoided any trouble from Tingana for a while. I think Tingana has been seen chasing him a couple of times, but unfortunately, being lighter at that age, he's able to run away a bit better. Definitely worth the long haul. Just a quick note, we just want to make sure everyone knows that the killer bees have brought the first lion sighting on cheetah plains, the first cheetah sighting on cheetah plains, and now the first leopard sighting on cheetah plains. What next, Ryan? What next?
Oh yeah.
The killer bees.
Killer bees!
We're gonna have to get something a bit more challenging next. And Brian, I think you can take this one.
Thank you everyone. Thank you. Oh no.
As Brian is coming to join us, the rest of us old people who are over 30. The vast majority of our camp, I think, is still under 30. Who's over 30? It's
only old fogies and has-beens.
yes. So it's myself, Steph, James. Is that it? Rebecca.
Yeah.
And now Brian.
Dump.
And Alex. There we go. So the rest of the crew are what we refer to, or what in Shangaan is referred to, is mampimpans, little ones. So while the killer bees make their way home for a well-deserved dinner, we're going to go across to the latest mampimpan on the Safari Live crew to say goodbye. So let's go see Sam.
Well, so everyone's been sitting with leopards and with Brent. I've just heard that it's been fascinating, it's been fun. It's been another fun, packed day here in the bush. Myself and Dave have been wishing to see a honey badger. Honey badger is definitely one of my favorite animals to see, just because of its coat and the way in which it is that big white stripe on its back. I mean, how many of you have seen a honey badger on drive here at Safari Live? Let me know if you have seen one. Send us the picture of it. I would love to see it. Honey badgers are such cool animals, and we are hoping to find a honey badger. I know it's not very easy. It's much like finding a pangolin or an aardvark, but you know, you've got to have positive mindset. So we've got 1 minute to find. We've got 1 minute. Dave, do you reckon in 1 minute we can find a honey badger?
Let's try.
All right. Looking left. Looking right. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Dave, you can have a look around. While I'm doing that, I just want to end off by saying that it has been the most epic few days here at Safari Live. Myself and Dave have thoroughly enjoyed taking everyone out into the bush and showing them something about wild dogs, about leopards. I mean, that leopard in the tree today was unreal. It was so cool, and I'm so glad you guys were there with us to join us for that. Kirsty as the director, and Rebecca, your sidekick, thanks so much for helping us out here today. It's been incredible. Brent, you're a legend. Dave, you're a master. We'll see you later. Goodbye.